Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you on a dark and gloomy day here in London. But Arsenal are through to the FA Cup fourth round. Nice, easy trip to Manchester City awaits after that victory against Oxford United last night at the Kassam Stadium. Weird game, I thought, certainly a game of two halves, that classic football cliche. Arsenal pretty dreadful for the first half. I mean, it was just an awful game, no shot on target for either side in that first half, although Arsenal probably should have had a penalty for handball. Second half, completely different really, and Arsenal cruised to the win. It was, I think, sort of Fabio Vieira sort of epitomised the game really. I thought first half he had an absolute stinker, nothing worked for him. Second half he just came alive, and that inspired Arsenal to the win. 2 assists for Vieira, brilliant free kick in. He'd just done a wonderful little flick for Bukayo Saka before that almost led to the opening goal. Then he delivered the free kick for Elneny to score. Then he just produced a brilliant through ball for Eddie Nketiah to make it 2-0 and game over then. And Eddie got a third late on from Martinelli's pass, and it ended up being a very comfortable night's work. But certainly watching that first 45 minutes, it didn't feel like it was going to be like that. And I just think it was Vieira's quality versus it kind of blew the game wide open in that second half. And credit to him because he had a really difficult first half. Not just him, everyone did. Everyone was just a little bit off it, weren't really up to speed of the game. Oxford was sort of getting in Arsenal's faces a bit, and it was just your classic away cup tie against a lower league side. But once sort of Vieira just started getting going and pulling the strings in that second half, it was just a little bit too much for Arsenal. And fair play to Eddie Nketiah, 2 more goals for him now. That's 4 in 4 since Jesus got injured. You really can't ask for much more than that. I think he's got 20 goals in his last 24 starts in all competitions for Arsenal, Eddie Nketiah. I mean, that's a fantastic record. It really is. And that's why I spoke about it in a video a few days ago. I just don't get the criticism that still seems to come Eddie. Yes, he's no Gabriel Jesus. No one's expecting him to be Gabriel Jesus. Gabriel Jesus is a lot further down the line in his career than Eddie Nketiah is. But what Eddie's doing, when he gets an opportunity, is really, really impressive. His goal scoring record speaks for itself. He's already joint top scorer now at Arsenal, having only just really come into the starting 11 because of Jesus' injury, and he's joint top scorer this season. He will score goals when he starts. He just does. And 2 more goals, really good finishes from him last night, which will be a big confidence boost ahead of that massive game against Spurs at the weekend. So that was good to see. And on the whole, it was just, it ended up being a comfortable night's work for Arsenal. And Mikel Arteta was very happy after the game, as you can imagine, although he did admit that the first half wasn't quite good enough. I mean, player ratings-wise, Matt Turner in goal barely had a thing to do. Looked comfortable when he was called into action, if you can call it that. But it was, very comfortable night's work for him. I gave him a 6. I gave Tomiyasu a 6. I gave Tierney a 6, although Tierney could have potentially been a 5. I thought he struggled a little bit to make an impact. Arsenal looked so much better when Zinchenko came on in that second half. So Tierney I gave a 6, Tomiyasu 6. I gave the 2 centre-backs both 7. Rob Holding and Gabriel. Mohamed Elneny got things rolling with the goal. I gave him a 7 as well. Vieira I gave an 8 because of that second half performance and the fact he sort of turned the game on its head and produced the moments of quality when Arsenal really needed it. Sambi Lokonga I gave a 5. I'm still no closer to getting Sambi at the moment. It's not like he hasn't had a lot of opportunities. He has, but he's neat and tidy in possession, but that's about it. I don't see much more from him at either end of the pitch. And if you're going to make it Arsenal, you've got to have something about you. And I'm not sure with Sambi Lokonga. Each opportunity he gets, he just doesn't really seem to take it. I thought he just didn't do much at all last night. And, it was another opportunity for him to sort of seize control of a game in midfield, show what he's about, but he didn't take it. It was replaced in the second half. And, as soon as Xhaka and Zinchenko came on, they'd added so much more quality to that midfield. So Sambi, I gave a 5. And then the forwards, Saka, I gave a 6, just wasn't really in the game. Had one good moment in the second half, which almost scored from, but the shot was cleared off the line. Then he went off with that injury scare, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. So I gave him a 6. Martinelli, I gave a 7 just because of his assist for Eddie's second goal. Had it not been for that, he would have got a 6 because I thought it was a pretty underwhelming performance from Gabby. And then Eddie Nketiah, I have to give man of the match. Got an 8, 2 goals. Him and Vieira, the 2 stars for me in that second half when Arsenal really sort of took the game away from Oxford. So those are my player ratings. Let me know what you guys think. As always, in the comments below, anything you agree with or disagree with, please feel free to leave a comment in the section below. Okay, so Saka's injury. hopefully it's nothing serious. Mikel Arteta was very, very keen to play it down after the game yesterday in his press conference. He said it to TV cameras. He said it to us, the written media upstairs at the top of the stadium as well. He just said he's fine. So we'll have to take that for what it is and believe what Mikel Arteta had to say. I mean, it didn't look great when it happened. He went down, he was sort of clutching the back of his leg, then he trudged off around the pitch. I mean, he did walk off, which was good, and he did the whole sort of lap of the pitch that he had to do. Even he was doing it as Eddie made it 3-0, gave a little sort of celebratory high five to Eddie as he ran past him. But yeah, we'll have to take what Mikel Arteta says as face value at the moment. The press conference later on in the week is Friday, so we'll see then perhaps what Mikel has to say. But it was definitely, I think you can definitely call it an injury scare. Hopefully he'll be fine for Spurs on Sunday. He's got 6 days to recover from it. And the fact that he walked off is obviously a good thing. And the fact that Mikel Arteta says he's fine, you would hope is a good thing. But I don't know. Just watching it and looking at it, I certainly got the sense that there was something not quite right with the way he was talking to the medical staff. And you saw sort of Stuyvenberg walk up to Arteta. Someone showed me the camera, and he definitely seems to say to Arteta on the touchline, "It's a muscle." And Arteta turns to him and says, "For Bukayo," and he said, "Yeah." And the camera just sort of got them at the exact moment they were saying that, and certainly that appeared what they were saying. So we'll have to wait and see. I think we can certainly say it's an injury scare at the moment, but for now, you got to put on face value what Mikel Arteta says, and he says he's fine. So hopefully that means Saka will be fine to face Tottenham on Sunday. It was definitely a risk playing them. I was a little bit surprised. I thought Nketiah would start. I didn't think Martinelli and Saka would, but they did. Got the job done. And yeah, hopefully it's a risk that pays off, and both are fine to play against Spurs at the weekend. Transfer wise, since the last time I did a video, Mudryk, there's not really anything I can add to what's going on at the moment with Mudryk. I mean, talks continue. I know there's lots of news that was sort of breaking during the game last night that came out from Ukraine that Arsenal and Shakhtar were very, very close to now agreeing a fee. I can't confirm that, unfortunately. I wish I could, but I can't. If I can, I will, of course, do that on these videos or on my social media feeds on goal.com, so please do keep an eye out. But at the moment, I can't confirm that news. It's coming out from Ukraine. It seems to come from a good source. He was a source who first confirmed the official bid. First official bid had gone in for Mudryk. But as far as I'm aware, Mudryk has travelled today with the Shakhtar squad for their sort of training camp that they're doing ahead of their new season. He's gone to Turkey today, which would suggest, nothing's absolutely imminent. The fact he's travelled over there, and Shakhtar are still playing it down. So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, talks are continuing. It's not something that has been put on ice by any means. So Arsenal are still trying to get this deal done for Mudryk, but we'll wait and see exactly how quickly things move. But for now, Mudryk is with Shakhtar. He's not waiting to fly over to England. He's flown to Turkey and is preparing, as far as I'm aware, for that training camp that they are about to begin. Joao Felix is seemingly heading to Chelsea. Doesn't surprise me at all. I always felt that had Chelsea written all over it, that potential deal. It was one that was looked at by several clubs in the Premier League. He was offered to several clubs in the Premier League, including Arsenal. All of them sort of balked a little bit at the price that Atletico were demanding for him on loan until the end of the season, but Chelsea sort of bit the bullet and have agreed to do it. Doesn't surprise me. As I said, it always felt like Chelsea to me. It just had them written all over it. I think the situation they now find themselves in, the poor run of form they're on, may well have prompted them to do it as well. They've got a few injuries in those forward areas that they're having to deal with now, with Sterling having been injured and Pulisic also going down in the last couple of games. So it doesn't surprise me. I've seen there's a lot of frustration, is that the right word, from certain sections of the Arsenal fan base on social media that Arsenal haven't got this deal done, but it just didn't feel like one that Arsenal were going to do to me. It was just, I think Arsenal have moved away from these sort of panic moves that it feels like Felix would be for spending that sort of money, sort of 11 million pounds on a loan fee and then paying his wages, which would be another about 8 million pounds just until the end of the season to basically borrow a player that you're not going to sign on a permanent basis. It just didn't feel like something that this new Arsenal regime, the way they now operate in the transfer market, was going to do. They were certainly going to be focusing much more on long-term potential fixes, because that's how they operate, and that's why they're going for Mudryk at the moment. So it doesn't surprise me that he's ended up Chelsea, put it that way. Elsewhere, really good last night. Great probably the best thing to happen from last night, other than the win, was the fact that we saw Emile Smith Rowe return. He came on for the last 15 minutes, looked pretty sharp, to be fair, which was good, looked fit, looked healthy, and he was speaking after the game last night, that you'll see some of these quotes are doing around the embargoes for midday today, so these quotes will just be sort of going live now when the video is being published, because I won't publish it before midday, obviously, because it's an embargo. And there's new stories doing around on, I've got mine written on goal.com and others ones. So he's been speaking about his injury layoff, how difficult it was, how good it is to be back. And some of the comments that he said here, he said, it was really good to be back on the pitch with my teammates. I'm just going to kick on from here. It's been really tough, but the whole team was around me. The manager really helped me. And obviously I have my family back home supporting me. So it's been really tough, but I managed to get through it. And I'm just happy to be fully fit now. He was then sort of speaking about what he's been like during the 4 months that he's been off. He said, I was pretty much with the squad from the start, to be honest, after the surgery. I've been in all the team meetings, trying to keep up with all the knowledge and learning every day what Arteta has been trying to apply in training. It's been easier than I thought in that way, but I'm just happy to actually be back now. He then opened up more on the injury and sort of revealed just how long this has been going on, this groin problem that flared up really after the Man United game earlier on in the season, and that was what prompted Arsenal to finally do the surgery. We know he's been carrying this issue for a while. It's been plaguing him for a long, long time, but he's spoken a little bit more about it now and given more of an insight. He said, a lot of people might not know this, but I've had this injury since I was 18. It's been quite hard to deal with over the years, but I'm really happy that it's just finally over. I've had a successful surgery and I'm feeling really good. It was the exact same pain that I had from back when he was on loan at Leipzig, and it's been quite hard to manage. Obviously, a lot of people might not have known about that over the years, but I'm just happy now to come out the other side fully fit. And it's great that when you're a player like Smith Rowe, quite an explosive player who relies on pace and his running ability, to be carrying this injury for so long, it's must have been so annoying. And you just always got that doubt in your mind that when you really try and sprint, that something's going to flare up. So to, fingers crossed, finally have it fixed, it's going to be huge for Smith Rowe and huge for Arsenal, because he's going to have a massive part to play over the second half of the season. That's why it was so good to see him back last night. And fingers crossed there's no setbacks and he can continue to develop now. He's not going to start against Tottenham, of course he's not at the weekend, but just to have him there, to have him on the bench potentially, and to really build up his fitness over the next few weeks ahead of such a huge period in Arsenal season which is coming up, is going to be a massive, massive boost. That whole cliche about like a new signing, it's a horrible cliche, I know it is, but it does feel like that's true with Smith Rowe, because they've missed him that much. To have him back on the bench is going to be a huge thing for him and for Mikel Arteta, and you can see how pleased Mikel Arteta is to have him back. So yeah, good news from that game last night. Obviously the win was great, the goals were good, but to get Smith Rowe back, to see him out on the pitch again, fantastic sight, and long may that continue. All right, that's it from me, everyone. Thank you very much for your time. As always, anything you've agreed with, disagreed with, let me know in the comments below. Have a great day. I'll speak to you soon.